It was a warm night, but pretty dark. I was walking home from a long day at work, not yet having a car, but saving up for one. It was late, almost 10:40 p.m. I decided to take a little-known shortcut through an alleyway. I made it through, but something didn't feel right. It was like someone was watching me, but more ghost-like and creepy. I turned around and saw an abnormally tall figure standing at the end of the long alleyway, and it unnerved me. It wasn't the height of the figure, and it wasn't how freakishly thin it was, and it was really thin, but the way it looked at me. Its small, dark, lifeless, hollow eyes stared right into mine. It never moved. It just stood there, staring. Being the wuss I was, I ran the rest of the way home. I never told anyone of my encounter, mostly because I thought it was a figment of my imagination, but I was proven wrong 3 days later. I was walking in the wash with some friends, just talking about our week, maybe trying to build a hideout. It was broad daylight, so I don't know how it was here. I was out scouting for things to build the walls of our base, and that's when I saw it, standing under a thick-leaved tree in the shadow. It was brighter outside, so I was able to see it more clearly. From the ground up, it was almost touching the lowest branch, which was about 10 feet high. It was completely black, with white stripes on its forearms and shins. It had long, spindly fingers, white buttons, and a mask covering its whole face. But it wasn't like the rest of the body. It was burnt with black, green, and a bit of white, red, and purple. It was also a bit melted, like candle wax dripping down onto a cake. It had a big black smile and small black eyes that, again, stared right into mine. A scratched up version of Pop Goes the Weasel could be faintly heard. Out of pure fright, I ran back to my friends, empty-handed. I had to tell them what happened, but they just thought it was a prank to scare them. So I let it be and continued our construction. Monday night, I was walking home from work again, but every time I passed an alley, I saw the figure, and it seemingly got closer at every alleyway. I could hear its music getting closer, louder. Once I was about a block away from my house, I heard it louder than ever, and it came from directly behind me. When I turned around, it was right in my face, and human eyes shone from the dark, empty sockets. It grabbed my shoulders, and the music was replaced by a loud, demonic scream, and I blacked out. When I woke up again, it was a centimeter from my nose, on top of me, pinning me down with incredible strength. The music was playing louder than when it was behind me, and I couldn't hear anything else. The thing reached up with its hand, long fingers looking razor sharp, and it began scratching at me, ripping huge chunks of flesh from my arms, chest, and face. It then screamed in my face so loud that it rang in my ears repeatedly as it ripped and scratched at my body, and it disappeared, and I blacked out again. I sprang up from my bed, screaming. Light shone through my window, indicating it was early morning, but the window wasn't where I remember it being. It was behind me, instead of on the wall to my right. I looked around and saw that I wasn't in my room at all. It was a pure white room, like quartz. I itched my arm and felt a blend of different textures, and when I looked down, I saw huge scars where the scratches and removed flesh were. Then I remembered. Scared and nervous, I looked up from my bed and saw it. That puppet thing was standing in the darkest corner of my room in that damned asylum, watching me, playing that messed up song, and never leaving me alone.